Hokage, the strongest Uchiha from the sign in. Chapter 21. Outside the weed-covered courtyard, Yuhi Kurenai was dressed in casual clothes, her eyes were lively, but her expression was extremely awkward. Opposite her, Azuki Yugao, with waist-length purple hair and a pure and charming look, was also somewhat puzzled. Senior Kurenai. Why did you come to Yu's house? Did you hear about it too? That, you were at the same level as Anko, what did you hear? Yuhi Kurenai looked at the young junior in front of her, and a sense of crisis inexplicably arose in her heart. Don't you know, Senior? Keigetsu, Uchiha Keigetsu was accepted as a disciple by Orochimaru-sama among the Sannin, and Anko was also accepted as a disciple by Orochimaru-sama later. The Orochimaru team that the three of us were in was disbanded because of this. I wanted to congratulate them, but I heard that in the last battle, Keigetsu was unable to perform tasks for a period of time due to excessive chakra consumption, so. Yugao's words did not dispel Yuhi Kurenai's suspicion. She glanced at the souvenir hidden behind Yugao with a little suspicion, and her sense of crisis became more serious. So that's how it is. Are you, Anko and Keigetsu members of the same team? It was a few months ago. Since he saved us from the 4th Raikage and was accepted as a disciple by Orochimaru teacher, the Orochimaru class has been disbanded. The imperceptible loneliness flashed away, and when Yuhi Kurenai was about to speak to comfort her, a hearty laugh came from the corner of the street in the distance. Hong. Xian. Why did you come to this guy's house? When did you two like to eat snacks? Anko ran quickly from the end of the street to the front of Yu's house in the blink of an eye. She looked left and right and asked curiously. Hong, don't you hate eating cakes? Xian too, this 3-color dumpling is very popular, could it be that? Facing Anko's gaze, the two felt awkward at the same time, and they felt that they could dig out a 3-bedroom and 1 living room with their toes. The inadvertent gaze made her cheeks hot, and she quickly looked away, and Xian explained in a hurry. Actually, Sure enough, you finally understand the beauty of dumplings and desserts. Anko's smile became brighter and brighter, and Hong and Xian couldn't help but feel relieved. Fortunately, Anko was slow, otherwise they would be exposed. Why did Anko join in the fun? What is this? Shira Field. Single quote. Hey. Yu, how long have you been hiding over there? Anko, have arrived. Why don't you open the door for us? Holding his hands on his waist, Anko shouted arrogantly. Xian and Hong looked up in panic, and then they noticed the young man with long hair casually draped behind him and a lazy temperament in the window on the 2nd floor. How long have you been watching? Probably the whole time. You didn't ring the doorbell. I'm not the kind of person who invites women into my house casually. Hong and Xian looked embarrassed. It seemed that they didn't ring the doorbell just now. They were busy looking at their competitors and didn't notice the doorbell at all. So suspicious, your words are so suspicious, forget it, why don't you open the door for me quickly, otherwise the dumplings and Anko soup will get cold. The door slowly opened with a creak. The dark corridor made the 3 people feel uneasy, but the inexplicable fragrance that followed diluted the fear in their hearts. Welcome, I really didn't expect someone to come visit me. I'm sorry that I didn't prepare anything at home. Hanazuki said perfunctorily, which made Anko couldn't help but yell. Liar. Even when you were learning ninjutsu from Orochimaru, you just sent a shadow clone to take a look and left. You were just afraid of trouble. In the clean and bright living room, 3 cups of black tea were steaming slightly. Facing Hanazuki, who was almost sunken into the sofa, the 3 looked at each other, and finally Anko spoke first. Hey, Orochimaru will go to practice outside the village with me in a while. Will you go? Anko asked in a low voice, waiting for a long time without receiving an answer, and then he mustered up the courage to look up, but heard a faint snoring in his ear. I'm asking you a question. Orochimaru teacher wants me to go with him to practice outside the village, are you going or not? Pulling the neck angrily, he directly pulled Yu up from the sofa, until he got close, the faint fragrance quietly filled the air, and the 3 of them blushed. Anko looked around blankly, and the suspicion on his face became more and more obvious. When did you plant flowers at home? I always feel that there is a good smell, what's going on? Indeed, I felt it when I entered the house just now. There is indeed a good, but strange fragrance. Flower fragrance. The source of the fragrance seems to be very close to us. What kind of flower could it be? Just as the three were puzzled, Enko suddenly put his hand to the tip of his nose and sniffed, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Could it be? With their cheeks close together, Hong and Xian's faces changed slightly, and they couldn't help but blush. They subconsciously covered their eyes, and the gaps between their fingertips flickered with excitement. Enko. What are you doing? Kissing. Is it kissing? Wait a minute, we can't make mistakes at this age. Even if we want to become adults, don't do it in front of us, Enko. Enko was confused, and Yu, whose thoughts were interrupted by the scream, opened her eyes. Seeing that Yu finally woke up, she subconsciously loosened her hands. Wait, what are you thinking? The fragrance came from him, what do you think I want to do? Could it be? Enko's gaze made Hong and Xian embarrassed. Yu, who woke up from the chaos, was even more confused by this scene. What are you guys talking about? Feeling that she was a little strange today, Yu subconsciously examined herself and soon found the problem. Name: Uchiha Keigetsu. Bloodline limit: Mangekyo Sharingan. Identity: Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Tailed Beast: Black Nine Tails. Exclusive entry: Fox Charm. Fox Charm. When did such a weird entry appear? Where did it come from? Single quote. Subconsciously flipping through the search, Keigetsu finally found the source of the entry at the end of the moon sign. Month sign exclusive. Isn't the moon sign an entry for yourself instead of a ninjutsu or item? Single quote. Feeling three dangerous eyes staring at her, Keigetsu looked up and saw that the faces, which were not in line with her age, were sticking to her, with spring colors between their brows. Brother, you smell so good, I want to rub and lick you. Keigetsu-kun, you are so cute. As expected, I still want you, Keigetsu-kun. Actually, since the day you saved me, I have. Bang. The sudden strong wind diluted the beauty in the living room, and a figure hurried over with an impatient look. Uchiha Yu, something bad has happened. The next second, Ebisu felt three sinister eyes looking at him, and the murderous aura flashing in his eyes made him tremble all over. Asshole. Almost, just a little bit to kiss, Ebisu. Wake up, you are already dead. Sitting on the ground, Ebisu shivered, leaning against the wall, feeling that his death was approaching. Wait, it has nothing to do with me, it was the third Hokage. It was the third Hokage who asked me to find Uchiha Keigetsu, it has nothing to do with me. Huh. Is it the third Hokage's order? It must be an important task, I'll go first, bye. With a shake of her body, Keigetsu, who was originally pushed down on the sofa, disappeared on the spot, and when she turned around again, Ebisu disappeared with her. At the same time, in the third training ground, Keigetsu exhaled a long breath and sighed. I was saved. I almost had to live a life of being squeezed into scum. You came just in time. Ebisu senpai, what happened? While lamenting that he was lucky enough to save his life, Ebisu fell to his knees with tears streaming down his face. How am I worse than the little devil? Appearance. Personality. Ninjutsu. Why can this guy have so many girls? I don't even have a girlfriend to this day. The corner of her mouth twitched, and Yu remembered that the person in front of her was Ebisu, who was known as Mutsulini. After hesitating for a moment, she comforted him. Calm down, Ebisu senpai. With Ebisu senpai's charm, he will definitely find a girl who likes him. Really? Ebisu woke up from his negativity, and his expression under the sunglasses was excited. He couldn't help asking. Then how big is the gap between you and me? There is not much of a gap. If I have to say, it's probably just this. Hanazuki smiled slightly, and her index finger and thumb kept getting closer and closer, leaving only a tiny distance, which made Ebisu cheer up. Really, what a good person. Uchiha Kazuki, thank you for your encouragement, I will definitely work harder and become an excellent ninja beyond you. Compared to these, what exactly did the third Hokage want to find me for? Oh. By the way, I almost forgot about the important matter. The impact of the scene just now was too great, and my consciousness almost disappeared. The third Hokage asked you to go to the mission release hall immediately, which seems to be a very urgent situation. But if it is a high-level mission, why do you, a genin, need to be found? Speaking of which, what was the ninjutsu just now? How did we get from your home to the third training ground in an instant? When Ebamon came back to his senses from thinking, he found that Uchiha Kazuki in front of him had disappeared without a trace. Disappeared again. Could it be the Flying Thunder God technique? Why does a genin know this level of ninjutsu? The fact that Uchiha Kagetsu mastered the Flying Thunder God technique and was accepted as a disciple by Orochimaru was known only to the ninjas who participated in the Battle of Kikyo Mountain, and most of those people were jonin and family heads of Konoha. Now is the war period, and most jonin are running around in various battlefields. Although they know the situation, the chunin and genin do not know this news. And Kagetsu himself has been staying at home and not going out, eliminating the vigilance of the third Hokage and Danzo, and naturally has no intention of spreading his strength everywhere. Hokage office building, in the third Hokage's study. I heard from Ebisu that you have something to talk to me about. What is it? Are you here already? Uchiha Kagetsu, I'm not here for any other reason, but I have a very important mission to entrust to you. Do you know the land of water? After a moment of contemplation, Uchiha Kagetsu nodded slightly, not knowing what Sarutobi Hiruzen's intention was. I've heard that the land of water seems to be a poor and warlike country. It was also the first country to attack the land of wind during the Third Ninja World War. Yes, the territory of the land of water is mostly islands. The people in the country live in poverty and are shrouded in fog all year round. It is a country that rarely communicates with other major countries. But it is precisely because of this that they will wantonly break into other countries to plunder. In addition, the extraordinary strength of the Mist Shinobi Ninja is also a headache for Konoha. The pen stopped, and a painting called The Will of Fire was born. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded with satisfaction, and Uchiha Kagetsu had a blank expression, not understanding the meaning. So, what is my mission? The current Konoha village can no longer withstand excessive wars. Your performance in Kikyo Mountain and Sand Shinobi is highly praised by Orochimaru and Namikaze Minato. So, the mission to be given to you now is battlefield support. Raised an eyebrow, battlefield support. Which battlefield? Does Konoha still have a large-scale battlefield with other major countries now? In order to avoid a similar situation like Mount Kikyo, where someone could sneak into the heart of the land of fire without knowing it, you have to guard against possible attacks from other great powers alone. The atmosphere fell into an inexplicable silence, and Sarutobi Hiruzen did not turn his head back, waiting for Kagetsu's answer. I know, but I need. Since the third Hokage left the office, Kagetsu's expression remained calm, as if the demanding task did not cause him dissatisfaction. When he returned home, among the 3 snacks, a row of special kunai with a cold glow and a dark color were placed on the coffee table, like an invisible demonstration. 1, 2, 3, a standard Anbu 3-person team. That's why I hate the evil recommendation system. Although he wanted to climb to the top step by step, the identity of Uchiha destined him to not even be a candidate for Zhao Hokage. The evil recommendation system can't even be democratic and fair. In his inner world, Kagetsu kept silent, but the expression on his face showed that he was not in a good mood. What's wrong? Little brat, have you reached the limit of your patience? Then join hands with me now and make a big mess together, wahahaha. Ignore the crazy seduction in front of him, trying to spread the war again. The Rasengan on the fingertips rotates at high speed, carving his own chakra mark on the special kunai that can withstand tailed beast bomb. Kurama, why do you think humans are greedy for power? Is it because they are afraid of aging, or are they afraid of losing the recognition of others after losing power? I am not a human, I don't know a hammer, I only know to slap those guys who want to attack me to death. Black Ninetails lay in his little nest, without raising his head and answered, completely unaware of the flash of murderous intent in Yu's eyes. The reason why humans are humans is that they will never learn lessons from history. Sure enough, they will be completely destroyed. The era of ninjas will end with my own hands. The autumn breeze was cool, and a few drops of blood splashed on the handsome face, with no ripples in his expression. Another Mist Shinobi. The recent actions are too frequent. They have fought with Sand Shinobi and Cloud Shinobi successively. Are the number of ninjas that can be regarded as combat power insufficient? Blood drops fell, and the sharp kunai blade was not stained with a single drop of bloodline. Wow, so amazing, it's worthy of being the famous Uchiha clan of Konoha. It can easily solve 3 Mist Shinobi teams like this. It's really amazing. Tilting his head, he said in a calm tone. It's no big deal. The harassment of Mist Shinobi has increased recently. You should also pay attention to it, Dai, Guji. What a thoughtful captain. I wish my son could become a ninja like you. This is youth. Konoha Genin might die. Maruboshi Guji, these are the subordinates led by Uchiha Keigetsu as the battlefield rescue team. Everyone seems to be insignificant, but in fact, the strength contained is far beyond the average genin by dozens of times. What are you saying? You are a genius who can lead the team to fight right after graduation. You have saved hundreds of Konoha shinobi in the past 2 months. Whether it is the Chunin exam or the Jonin exam, it will definitely be no problem for you. If my kid can become a Jonin, I, as a father, will be satisfied, ha 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 ha. Might Dai laughed loudly, and Gu Jia smiled and waved his hand. The stew that had been prepared long ago exuded an appetizing aroma. It is really a great help to transfer the 2 of you to my team. Without the 2 of you, I would have to deal with those corpses alone and eat dry ration pills to survive. It's uncomfortable to think about it. Ga. 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 A crow suddenly appeared in the distant forest. Hua Yu frowned and muttered to herself. Crows always gather near the battlefield waiting for food. This is not a good sign. Is this area going to become a battlefield? I didn't expect that young people nowadays still believe in omens. Captain, you are really different. These are just the old men talking to themselves. Gu Jia smiled kindly. He has lived from the second Hokage period to the present and experienced 2 ninja world wars. His actual strength is not lower than that of ordinary Jonin. No, although I don't believe in omens, I believe in luck. Luck is very important, especially on the battlefield. A lucky companion is often more popular than an unlucky companion. Uncle Gu Jia, your luck has always been good, hee hee. Hua Yu's smile made Gu Jia's turbid old eyes a little hazy. If it weren't for his momentary mistake in the wrong order, his companion would not have died. If he could, he would rather sacrifice himself at that time. Because of this, he would rather be a genin for the rest of his life and pay for his sins at that time. Compared to these, the new year is coming in a few days. What are the plans of the captain and brother Gu Jia? Might Dai ate 2 bowls of rice in a blink of an eye. Gu Jia shook his head and said nothing. He was alone and naturally spent the spring festival alone. Me. I will probably spend it alone, but I may invite friends. I don't know if they can come, but they can always come. Suddenly, thick smoke rose from the forest in the distance. Hua Yu, who was about to serve another bowl of rice, frowned slightly and said without turning his head. I'll go and take a look. Pay close attention to the battlefield in other directions. Mist Shinobi's movements have been wrong recently. If you encounter a tricky guy, run away immediately. If it's not tricky over there, I will rush back as soon as possible. If there is an emergency, don't worry about how many enemies it can attract, just fire a flare. In the blink of an eye, Keigetsu disappeared, and Might Dai's eyes were filled with tears. Captain, he is so gentle, such a gentle man, he is simply a role model among ninjas. Alas, he should be acting like a spoiled child at his age, but his personality has become like this. This is a sad war. Gu Jia shook his head slightly, but his eyes fell on Might Dai. Speaking of which, your son, Might Guy, is already a Chunin, and is he also on the battlefield now? Ah. Speaking of my son, he is different from me. He is a genius in physical skills and will become a Jonin one day. I have always believed in his talent. Might Dai said with a beaming face, proud of his own child. Gu Jia extinguished the fire, left a part of Keigetsu in the incubator, and then his eyes fell on the distance. The fleeting figure made him open his eyes wide. Dai, your child seems to have just passed by. Brother Guji, are you telling the truth? Where is he? Where did he go? Might Dai looked around, his eyes full of joy. Guji pointed to the depths of the dense forest and whispered. Be careful, in case you find it's a trap. I know, notify the captain immediately. Don't worry, brother Guji, I can survive the battlefield, ha 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 ha. Looking at the disappearing back of Might Dai, Guji frowned, and the lone crow in the distance quietly landed in the forest, with dark eyes staring at the figure hidden in the forest, and the loud cry was like the horn of Shinigami. 2 flowers bloom, each showing its own beauty. Might Guy, Shiranui Genma, and Ebisu, who were on a mission, looked at each other, drops of cold sweat dripping from their foreheads, and their backs were already soaked with sweat. In the woods not far away, there were strange-looking people holding all kinds of strange ninja swords, which made the chill run straight to the top of the head. Mist Shinobi Ninja Village, the 7 ninja swordsmen, the 7 ninja swordsmen of Mist Shinobi, are you going to escape? Ebisu was on full alert. Shiranui Genma lowered his eyes and answered frankly. These guys are all the elite of Mist Shinobi. With only the 3 of us Chunin, there is no chance to escape. Is the end of our death near? Escape is not a solution, we can only fight to the death. Is the beast of Konoha going to end here? The pressure on the 3 people doubled, and they were hesitant in their hearts, but the people on the opposite side laughed loudly, and the sharp shark teeth flashed coldly. I didn't expect that we have become so famous. Even the little ghosts in Konoha know us. Your luck is not good. Although we are little ghosts, this is a battlefield. So, do you want to chop them into pieces? No, cut them, the little ghosts' wails before death are so pleasant to the ears. We should use lightning style. Raiga, your ninjutsu is too eye-catching. This is a battlefield. Just as everyone was arguing, the familiar green jumpsuit shuttled through the forest and blocked the way of Might Guy and the other 2. Swish, swish, swish. The fireworks faded, and Might Guy smiled back, his white teeth sparkling in the sun. Guy, the real youth has just begun. Even if you die, you must protect the most important things. Do you understand? Might Guy was puzzled as he looked at his father who rushed to him. Why? Dad, you are just a genin, why did you rush here? Ebisu and Shiranui Genma were even more stunned. Might Guy's father was not a strong man at all, not to mention that the people in front of them were all good players among Mist Shinobi, so there was no chance of winning. Another Konoha Shinobi. It looks like the father of that watermelon head. It's so tragic. The father and son are going to die together. Then let me be kind once and send you to leave this world without pain, just use my beheading sword. Biwa Juzo looked cruel, and the beheading sword in his hand was eager to try. Might Guy, who had not spoken for a long time, smiled as usual. Are there any other reasons? Protecting the things you cherish is the youth and spirit of a man. You must live well, Guy. Now is the time for youth to burn. 8 inner gates open. The spirit was soaring into the sky, and the vigorous vitality continued to burn. The green flames and the terrifying chakra that condensed into a solid body bloomed with unprecedented light at this moment. Run, Guy. Dad will cover you here. Dad. Amazing chakra, but you don't think you can beat us, do you? Lightning style Raiga. The lightning rushed down from the sky, and the confusing fog obscured the vision. The terrifying lightning brought countless silver flowers and pointed directly at the 4 people. The next moment, without any concealment, the physical skills rushed straight, and the lightning that was enough to kill ordinary ninjas was kicked away in an instant. Never allow you to hurt the new buds that have not yet grown, never allow you to attack Guy, this is my full strength to burn my life, wake up. Bang. Boom boom, lightning flashed, and the drizzle slid down the fox mask. Autumn rain. Rare weather. Walking in the rain, he casually swung the kunai in his hand, and a few drops of blood mixed with the rain, dispersing the strong smell of blood. The cold and ruthless figure disappeared on the spot, leaving only a pile of broken limbs and debris. A moment later, many Mist Shinobi ninja teams who had experienced war and were scarred hurried over, their eyes full of pity. It's that guy again. Konoha's environment can breed such a monster. No one has even seen its true face. Its flicker technique is better than the yellow flash. Flicker technique Wanyu, a genius who killed hundreds of ninjas from various villages in just 2 months and never made a mistake. I heard that he is from the Uchiha clan, but no one has actually seen his face. Who knows if it's true or not? The Mist Shinobi ninjas looked solemn and gnashed their teeth. This guy who is good at flicker technique is the natural nemesis of their aimless assault team. It doesn't matter if we didn't find it. Didn't we get something good this time? The gray-blue long-haired man in the lead said indifferently. In the transparent test tube in his hand, the thing soaked in a light yellow solution was a pure white pupil. It took a lot of effort, but luck finally helped to snatch the Byakugan. The Hyuga clan was willing to split into the main family and branch house for it. Now, the Byakugan, known as one of the 3 major eye techniques, belongs to Mist Shinobi. With a different light flashing in his single eye, Mist Shinobi Jonin out turned around and said to everyone. Immediately notify the 7 ninja swordsmen to cover our return to Kurigakure. This is an important bloodline limit. We must not let the 2 instant ninjas from Konoha target us. Yes. The figure disappeared, and out turned around and shouted. We will go first. We will send the Byakugan back to Mist Shinobi even if we risk our lives. Let's go. At the scheduled meeting place near the border of the Land of Fire, Uchiha Kagetsu's eyes turned cold and asked in a cold voice. Has Dai not come back yet? Yes, I just saw the back of Dai's child Might Guy, but he has been gone for a long time and has not come back yet. It seems that there is a thick fog over there. Gyujia's explanation made Kagetsu silent for a moment. With a flickering look in his eyes, he finally whispered. Prepare emergency medicines. Dai may have an accident. I will be back soon. When Kagetsu left, Gyujia's wrinkled old face became more and more ugly. Did the ominous premonition in his heart come true? Can he only hope for the squad leader? Don't let anything happen, Dai, don't you want to see the day when your child becomes a Jonin? At the same time, on the battlefield between the 7 ninja swordsmen and Might Dai. The 7 ninja swordsmen were panting, and the few who were a little careless were even more scarred. The onesie, you're seriously injured after just one kick. Visible chakra, simple yet powerful physical skills, who is this? There's no such name in the ninja manual. Kurihane Kushimaru's tone was emotionless, and he looked as cold and ruthless as the Anbu mask on his face. Konoha's physical skills expert, you deserve our name, who are you? Among the 7 ninja swordsmen, the user of the explosive sword foam, Murray Shinpachi, shouted, and the 7 ninja swordsmen standing in the dust were on full alert. The 10,000 years genin of Konoha, the passionate man who never ends his youth, might die. Might die. We remember, next you will die here forever. As a sign of respect, we will do it without reservation, lightning-style thunder dragon tornado. Long sword ninja technique earth spider seam. Explosive sword ninja technique hair breaking and reincarnation. Swallow his chakra, Samahata. You must live well and protect your most precious treasure, Guy. Just when Might Dai was about to ignite everything and infuse the last remaining chakra into the fatal point, a bit of cold chakra accurately sealed the remaining 7th gate of 8 inner gates, and a familiar and different voice sounded behind him. Didn't I tell you to try to delay time? If you burn the last bit of chakra, you will have no hope of survival, Dai. Captain, you finally arrived. The severe load caused by the 8 inner gates on the body made Might Dai's body on the verge of collapse, but there was still a way out. Kurama, please, I didn't expect the moves I conceived could be used here. Single quote. The vitality that was so strong that it was visible to the naked eye gathered into a golden pattern similar to a curse seal, temporarily locking Might's body, and 3 figures rushed over quickly. Dad, he won't die for the time being, so let him rest there for the time being. I have something to talk to these guys about. What did you do to my team members? Among the 3, Ebisu, who was very familiar with this voice, looked up blankly, and saw the Uchiha family emblem behind the black cloak, and then he suddenly realized. Hanazuki, they are the 7 ninja swordsmen of Kurigakure, each of them is an elite Jonin. We can't beat them, so let's run away. Instant body technique, you is the instant body fantasy. It's actually a little ghost. Are those idiots who died at your hands idiots? Don't be careless, this kid is not an ordinary person, but at best he is just a kid, just kill him. You succeeded, kid, repent in hell for pretending to be a hero. Explosive sword ninjutsu, fate of death. Murray Shinpachi showed up in the thick fog, and the explosive sword in his hand, Famo, cut him in half, causing the 3 to exclaim. Be careful. Is it too late? Is it too much? The blade passed, but the expected explosion did not occur. The detonating tag of the explosive sword passed through nothingness, failing to stir up any waves. Doppelganger. No, it's an illusion, what's going on? Murray Shinpachi was secretly shocked, and the alert ninja sword 7 people around him were back to back and alert all around. One after another, figures in black clothes and black robes, wearing 3-eyed demon fox masks, were surrounding everyone at this moment. Is it fake or real? Just like the flowers blooming in the mirror and the waning moon reflected in the water, how can you know whether it is real or fake without experiencing it yourself? Ninja swords, ninjutsu, water style, kunai. All the attack methods that the 7 ninja swordsmen could imagine were applied to more than 10 phantoms, but no matter how hard they tried, all the attack methods were ineffective. What's wrong with this kid? Illusion. Even if it's an illusion, it's too real, this strange feeling. It's over. Kurochu Raiga's pupils shrank, and the cold touch gently crossed his throat, and the whole person fell in a pool of blood and couldn't move. The pupils trembled, and the existence that came into view was the companions who fought side by side in the past, now lying on the ground in a mess, and it was unknown whether they were dead or alive. Flying thunder god slash. The heavy rain poured down, and the cold rain took away the remaining warmth of the body. The last scene he saw was just the blood drops dripping from the sharp blade of the kunai. Wow, so awesome, what kind of ninjutsu is this? Might Guy looked at the 7 ninja swordsmen who were lying on the ground, and for a moment, even Might's injuries were forgotten. That is, the strength to suppress the battlefield. Instantaneous illusion, an instantaneous illusion that can't tell whether it is illusory or real. Gritting his teeth, Shiranui Genma recalled what he saw that day. No wonder this guy can complete the S-level support mission independently, is it really something that humans can use? Single quote. Keigetsu-san, what you said to me that day, is it really a comfort? Is the gap between us really just a little bit? Of course, the gap between us is just a little bit, isn't it? Keigetsu raised his right hand again, and Ebisu looked at the gap between the thumb and index finger, and asked subconsciously. Does your fingertips contain the sea of stars? If this makes you feel better, you can also understand it this way. That's enough of the small talk. Now I have to go back to Konoha and leave. Shortly after the few people left, several mist shinobi ninjas hurried over. Seeing the 7 ninja swordsmen lying on the ground, their hands and feet were cold with fear. What's going on? Master Biwa Juzo, Master Ziguashan Puffer Ghost, and even the other 7 ninja swordsmen. Cough cough cough. A violent cough sounded, and Ziguashan Puffer Ghost struggled to get up from the ground. The wound was bleeding and it was unbearable to look at it. Shunshin Wanyu, that kid, dared to snatch Laozi's Samahata away. That kid, must kill him. Shut up. You who can only bark, if you really have the ability to kill him, you wouldn't be lying here shouting, cough cough cough. The corpse at the farthest point had a weak tone, and blood was still flowing out. Seeing this, the 2 mist shinobi hurriedly dealt with it urgently. After stopping the bleeding of the 2 people's wounds, they asked in a low voice. Is the enemy the flickering genjutsu? That horrible little devil, that flickering technique is like an illusion, ordinary attacks are useless. If the kunai that cut his throat was not blocked by the teeth, I'm afraid there would be no 7 ninja swordsmen in this world. Biwa Juzo opened his mouth, and the sharp shark teeth broke neatly, leaving hideous wounds in his mouth. It was precisely because of this horrible amount of bleeding that he barely deceived the enemy. Tisk, you're still alive, Biwa Juzo, that little devil seems to have underestimated my tolerance for injuries. That flickering technique is definitely a sleight of hand. How can there be an existence in the world that can allow attacks to penetrate the body? Ziguashan Puffer Ghost's face was gloomy and uncertain. The ninja sword was taken away, and there were only 2 people left in the 7 ninja swordsmen. Without the ninja sword and people, what is the 7 ninja swordsmen? It's lucky to be alive. Before that kid left, the family emblem on his back was a flaming fan. He was indeed a genius kid from the Uchiha clan. I don't want to meet him again. If there is no way to crack the instant body technique of that level, the result of being killed is doomed. It's just a matter of time. The 2 looked at each other and fell silent. At this time, the mist shinobi ninja who came to report remembered the business and said hurriedly. Lord Biwa Juzo, Lord Ziguashan Puffer Ghost, Lord Ching has successfully seized the blood limit of the Hyuga clan and is now rushing back to Mist Shinobi. Let us cover. In this situation, it is unknown whether we can evacuate safely. Although the result of this war is a failure, it is not a complete loss, right? The 2 barely got up and disappeared into the dense forest. The corpses on the ground were also collected by several ninjas and evacuated the border of the fire country at full speed. Time passed a little, in the Konoha hospital in Konoha village, the fire country. In front of the operating room, Might Guy looked anxious, while Ebisu and Shiranui Genma were silent, waiting for the result of the operation. I believe in the strength of the medical team. Dai did not use the last trick of the forbidden technique. Although the chakra of the death gate burned a little, I sealed it in time, so he will not die, but. The warning light in the operating room went out, and Nono walked out, took off his mask and nodded gently. The operation was successful, and the patient is not in danger of life, but the chakra meridians and body are under great pressure, and it is very likely that he will not be able to be a ninja in the future. Really? Thank you very much, Dad survived, that's great. Might Guy finally breathed a sigh of relief and sat on the ground. When he was about to thank Uchiha Yu, he found that the other party had disappeared in the corridor. In the corner of Konoha Hospital, Yu raised her eyebrows and looked at the Anbu ninjas in front of her with a smile. What's the matter? Uchiha Keigetsu, the Hokage has invited you, so I should congratulate you in advance. Even during the war, there has never been such a degree. Aware of his own mistakes, the leader, the bull-headed masked Anbu, kept silent and just made an invitation. Congratulations. What good could the third Hokage have in store for him? Did the sun rise from the west, or did Konoha village stop talking about the will of fire and start rewarding people based on merit? I don't know what it is, but I'll just look forward to it. He smiled brightly, as if he was looking forward to the congratulations from the Anbu. When he arrived at the Hokage office building and the mission release hall, he realized that everyone had been waiting for a long time. Minato-sensei, Kakashi-senpai, the third Hokage and the advisors, what's going on? When everyone saw Uchiha Keigetsu coming, Sarutobi Hiruzen coughed twice, glanced at the three people, and nodded with satisfaction. Hitaki Kakashi, Uchiha Keigetsu, now recommended by the instructor Jonin Orochimaru, Namikaze Minato, you are officially appointed as Konoha village Jonin. Kakashi was prepared when this was said, but Keigetsu was slightly startled. Konoha Jonin. He didn't even take the Chunin exam, and was directly promoted to Jonin. Wait, I haven't become a Chunin yet, is it really okay to be promoted like this? It doesn't matter. Now is wartime. The appointment of Chunin and Jonin is entirely decided by the village, and you have the ability to serve as a Jonin, Uchiha Keigetsu. Puffing out smoke, the third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, put the pipe in his hand on the table, looked at the mission reports and ninja evaluations, and nodded slightly. Since graduation, you have saved the lives of hundreds of compatriots in Konoha village, defeated the Kazekage advisor Chiyo on the Sand Shinobi side, and preserved the vitality of Konoha in the Battle of Kikyo Mountain. Just now, you defeated the 7 ninja swordsmen of Kurigakure. Your ability and heart are worthy of recognition. Even if you don't say it, you are unconsciously acting according to the will of fire in your heart. Uchiha Kaharu remained silent, and Namikaze Minato had a soft expression, affirming Keigetsu's achievements for Konoha. Where Konoha dances, fire will also continue. The flames will illuminate the village and let the new buds grow into towering trees. I hope you can become the light of the village in the future, illuminate the darkness, and protect the young buds of Konoha to thrive. He tui. Sorry, I did it on purpose. Bang. Uchiha Kaharu, who had been patient for a long time, was furious again, pointing at the indifferent Keigetsu, and turned his head and roared. Sarutobi. This guy must not be allowed to become a Jonin, even if he has made some contributions on the battlefield, he can't. Calm down, Kaharu, the so-called will of fire is not just talk, Uchiha Keigetsu's behavior is the true implementer of the will of fire. The appointment of Konoha's Jonin will be issued in a few days. Congratulations, Uchiha Keigetsu, Hitaki Kakashi. When the two left, Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed deeply and looked at the yellow-haired man who had penultimate military exploits and could be called a model of ninja. Minato, I'll leave that child in your care. His talent is unquestionable, and he treats his companions impeccably. However, if he stays with Orochimaru, he may be affected by his paranoid thoughts. I know, Keigetsu is a smart child, don't worry, he will definitely become an excellent Jonin. Minato nodded in agreement, Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded imperceptibly, and signaled everyone to leave. Outside the Hokage office building, Kakashi paused for a moment with a puzzled look in his eyes, with his mouth slightly raised. What are you laughing at? Nothing. Congratulations to you, Senior Kakashi, you will be a Jonin after the official documents are issued. A 12-year-old Konoha Jonin, this is really rare, isn't it something worth celebrating? Kakashi lowered his eyes and spoke in a cold tone. Are you showing off? Uchiha Kazuki, a 10-year-old jonin who just graduated from the ninja school a few months ago and has been promoted through the war. No, I think if I were Kakashi-senpai's friend, I would have prepared a celebration plan for you, but if it were me, I probably wouldn't. After all, I'm not the type with many friends, right? Ha ha ha. Seeing Kazuki gradually walking away, Kakashi shook his head inexplicably. Weird. During the war, the streets of Konoha were a little cold. Kazuki, who had nothing to do, strolled on the corner of the street. When she was walking around the corner, a hurried figure bumped into her. Sorry. Are you okay? A cry of surprise, a soft voice full of apology and the papers scattered on the ground made the girl who fell to the ground a little distressed. It's okay, it's okay. This is Kakashi's promotion to Jonin, a secret celebration plan. You are. Turning his eyes away, he looked at the girl who was packing up the celebration posters, and a trace of memory flashed in his eyes. What? It's Lin Sr. You're really well informed. You even know that Kakashi Sr. is about to be promoted to Jonin. What an admirable intelligence network. Uchiha Keigetsu, it's Keigetsu. I'm so sorry, do you want to celebrate together? After barely finishing the cleaning, Nohara Lin smiled sweetly and gently, and invited Keigetsu. Celebrate together. Sure, if there are no other tasks, then I'll be rude to bother you. The footsteps in the distance gradually approached, and Obito, wearing goggles and a sports suit, waved excitedly. Lin, Obito, come and help too. Nohara Lin took the opportunity to hand the celebration poster to Obito, and after hurriedly saying goodbye to Obito, she distributed it to her classmates around her, holding back the words he was about to blurt out. After Nohara Lin walked away, a familiar voice sounded, which also made Obito slightly stunned. Hey, Senior Obito has also successfully become a Chunin. Congratulations, congratulations. Shall we go eat dango together to celebrate? It's Keigetsu. Why did Kakashi become a Jonin? Really, the same goes for Rin. They are all Kakashis. I will definitely surpass him when I open the Sharingan. Obito couldn't help but complain. He thought that the junior of the same clan in front of him would only smile and comfort him a few words, but Keigetsu nodded repeatedly to show his agreement. That's right. If Senior Obito can open the Sharingan, or even a more advanced eye technique than the Sharingan, he will definitely surpass Senior Kakashi. To borrow the words of teacher Orochimaru, I have never made mistakes in my ability to judge people. Your eyes hold the possibility of surpassing Senior Kakashi. Keigetsu smiled with a hint of certainty in her expression. Obito was so excited that tears flowed down his face and nodded vigorously. I know. I will be able to open Sharingan successfully and surpass Kakashi. I will not let you down, Keigetsu. Obito left with confidence, but Keigetsu nodded repeatedly. Mangekyo is like drawing cards. How can N-level Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu compare to SSR-level Double Kamui? Single quote. You are here. My lovely disciple. Troublesome teacher, what do you want to talk to me about? The eyeballs rolled around, and a trace of impatience flashed across the smart eyes, which was soon replaced by indifference and calmness. Don't say that. For excellent disciples, as a teacher, you must devote more efforts to make the crawling snake transform into a dragon, hee. The lavender tongue brushed across the lips, and the cold and hard lines became more and more disgusting. That's enough of the small talk. I went to practice outside the village this time and found a very interesting place. Do you want to sign your name on it? On the purple and white scroll, several names signed in blood came into view, and the most recent name made Yu's mouth twitch. Mitarashi Anko. Summoning scroll. Where is it from? Wouldn't it be clear if you try it yourself? When Anko first summoned, she summoned a summoning beast that was half the size of the Hokage's office building. As an Uchiha, what kind of existence can you summon? I'm looking forward to it. With a cold snort, the two figures disappeared in an instant, and when they reappeared, they were already hovering over the third training ground. Sure enough, as always, excellent Shunshin, do you want to try it? Orochimaru smiled coldly, and there was expectation in his snake-like vertical pupils, as if he was thinking about what kind of summoning beast his beloved disciple could summon. Summoning technique. Bang! The white mist dissipated, and the black and white eyes quietly turned into the complex and exquisite Mangekyo. The Black Nine Tails, who was bound in the body and could not sense the external environment, frowned slightly. Boy, you summoned an amazing guy. This guy's aura is difficult to deal with. According to his age, he is much older than me. Single quote. Whether it's the world on the other side or this side, it's equally difficult to deal with. If you're in trouble, I should have known that I wouldn't have converted my chakra into yours. Single quote. Be on your own, kid. Black Nine Tails hid himself hastily, and was very afraid of the figure in the white mist. No matter how you communicated with him, he never got a response. What kind of guy is that? This feeling could it be? Orochimaru looked at the figure in the mist in disbelief, and a long-lost chill rose up his spine for no reason. Really, it's you again, little snake. Didn't I warn you once that your physique is not suitable for practicing sage mode? Orochimaru, with his mouth twitching more and more and his lines hard, rarely couldn't hold back his expression, and turned his head to look deeply at Uchiha Yu. I just asked you to summon the summoning beast to assist in the battle. Who asked you to summon the white snake sage from Raichi Cave over here, and without permission? I'm very sorry, White Snake Immortal. This time the summoning technique was not led by me, but by my most proud disciple, Uchiha Kagetsu. I took 2 steps back. Orochimaru's eyes clearly said that I had to deal with the troubles I had caused myself, and I was powerless. Isn't it you but your disciple? Chakra that is even larger and more ominous than your little snake, this kind of power, someone from the Uchiha clan. The white mist dissipated, and the kind-looking elderly woman in a white gown was now looking at the figure in black clothes and robes, who had put on the 3-eyed demon fox mask at some point with her smiling eyes. Is that you? What are you hiding from that power that was more ominous than the little snake? The power contained in your body and the power in your eyes can make me feel a little dangerous. I see, you are such an interesting kid. If that's the case, come and challenge me. If you pass my test, you can get the power that your master has never gotten. Bang! 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 The white mist dissipated, and the figure of Yu and the white snake immortal disappeared without a trace. Orochimaru stood there, silent for a long time, and the barely maintained calm in his eyes had long been replaced by shock. I didn't expect that the white snake sage would respond to the summoning technique. I thought that the one who would be summoned to the present world would be that guy Manshi. The white snake sage, who has survived for almost the same time as the birth of ninjas and has existed for at least 1,000 years, is not so easy to please. May you be blessed, my lovely disciple. Unfortunately, my physique is not suitable for sage mode, otherwise I would not have tried every means to find the possibility of leading to the sage according to that little clue. Orochimaru walked away, and deep in his heart, he had already regarded Uchiha Kagetsu as a dead person. The so-called white snake sage, whether to please or not, is a very difficult existence. Unfortunately, the youngest Jonin in Konoha village is probably going to become a meal in the mouth of snakes. What a pity. 2 flowers bloom, each showing its own beauty. In the Raichi Cave, one of the 3 major training holy places in the ninja world, which is known as the legendary inheritance place, a guest who was forcibly invited by the owner is standing in the mist and looking around. Is this Raichi Cave? Sage mode? I'm not interested in having scales all over my body, but I was led here by that troublesome old woman. Choosing a random direction, Yu looked around, only to find that the fog surrounding her was getting heavier and heavier, and visibility was instantly limited to a few meters. Is that guy the one who came to seek power? Ah, it's the interesting little ghost that the immortal said, is there a trial? Let me go first, that child has a very good smell, and it must taste delicious, he he he. The voices of women with different accents and charming voices disappeared in the thick fog, and the graceful female figures disappeared from the spot. At the same time, in the strange fog, pieces of fire lit up, and the scene in front of them was a spacious and magnificent courtyard. Welcome, guests. Are you also here in Raichi Cave to seek the power of the immortal? Yu slightly tilted her head, and the figure who appeared in her sight had beautiful eyebrows and eyes, green hair that was almost black, and pale skin that seemed to have never seen the sun all day. No, it was that old woman who insisted on bringing me here. The power of the immortal is of no use to me for the time being. As soon as these words came out, the green-haired woman in front of her didn't know what to do, but the faint blue veins on her forehead explained her mood at the moment. You dare to call the white snake immortal an old woman, you rude little devil, I will make you die in pain later. Single quote. In that case, please come to my humble abode to rest for a while. You will see the white snake immortal later and ask her to send you out of Raichi cave. Why not take a rest for a while and take this opportunity to fill your stomach? Under the bright smile of the green-haired woman, Uchiha Wayuu would smile. I refuse. I refuse. The words are clear and the tone is straightforward. Wayuu's voice echoes in Raichi cave for a long time. At this time, the green-haired woman's smile became more and more reluctant, and she couldn't help but persuade again. Why are you so anxious? Just rest here for a while, I will immediately ask the white snake immortal to send you back for you, so you don't have to work hard to find. Even if you become a woman, I can't do anything at my age now. Although I admire Shu Xian very much, I also want to try what it feels like to be a day snake. But at least wait until 6 years later, and... In an instant, the back and forehead were already soaked with cold sweat, huge to the extreme, the ominous and distorted, the pair of exquisite and complex eyes distorted by blood and black, like a god. I don't think you can invite that old woman here. Isn't that old woman the most powerful being in Raichi cave? I don't know what you are keeping in suspense, but since there is nothing here except snakes, let's have a long-awaited big fight. Let's go. The dark chakra visible to the naked eye gathered all over his body, and the black cloak fluttered without wind. The aura of ominousness and destruction instantly condensed to the peak. Powerful Susanoo. In the light blue inner world, the black nine tails, who had closed his eyes to rest, opened his eyes, and his blood-red demon pupils revealed a long-lost excitement. Ha 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 ha. Is it finally time to have a long-awaited big fight? Little ghost. Let's go, Kurama. The ferocious nine-tails demon fox was covered in black armor. The demon fox shrouded in pure white armor stood up straight, and the 9 long tails swung casually, stirring up countless gusts of wind. You little brat, what on earth is this existence? What is this terrifying chakra that can rival the power of us who use fairy arts? At this moment, the green-haired woman, who was shrouded in fear and felt an unprecedented life and death crisis, brazenly revealed her true form. A 1,000-meter-long python with sharp teeth, snake tongue and green hair finally revealed its true face, and the golden crown and gem on its head shone brightly. Very strong chakra. Even without the blessing of fairy arts, this kind of chakra is definitely not something that ordinary people can use freely. I am Tien Shin Shenji, the existence selected to enter the trial in Raichi cave. Do you want to use force? Even if it is a female snake, it is absolutely unforgivable to use illusions on me. Compared with that trial, it is faster to open a path by yourself, so. The cold and ruthless eyes looked down at the 1,000-meter-long snake in front of him, the pure white armor and muscle blood vessels were entangled with the black 9 tails, and the weird and complicated Mangekyo looked around with an indifferent expression. In the blink of an eye, the sword condensed into a physical form in 9 tails' hand was unsheathed, and the mist was cut off with one sword. The smoke that should have dissipated with the wind in the Sengoku era seemed to be rekindled at this time, making the existence that provoked the war tremble with fear. With one sword, smoke and dust rose, and Tien Shin Shenji flew several miles away, with blood-red eyes raising the blade in her hand again. What are you doing? Tien Shin Shenji, it's obviously just a human kid, you guy. What is that? Fox. Human. How could that human kid who smelled so good become this guy, such a terrifying power? The next second, a 1,000-meter-long blue python and a brown python came hand in hand, but were pulled out several miles by the 9 tails. Are you guys the same type as the Tienshin Shenji? Tell us your name, maybe you will suffer less. What an arrogant brat, what do you think we should do, Ikikishima Haim? Sure enough, let this brat learn a lesson and accept the immortal test of Raichi cave honestly, isn't it better, Suzuki Haim? The 3 long snakes disappeared without a trace, blending into the air and the thick fog. The smile at the corner of her mouth became more and more obvious. The long-lost warm-up activity made Kazuki's blood boil. After an unknown period of time, the aftermath of the battle gradually dissipated. Kazuki, dressed in black and robes, relaxed her muscles and bones and felt refreshed. The 3 Shenji responsible for the Raichi cave immortal test were disheveled and covered in dust. Huh, it's really much better after a big fight. You guys, get up and lead the way. Monster, monster. It can actually sense us who are invisible, and it can actually let us who use fairy arts. Tanshin Shenji trembled all over, completely forgetting that she was the female snake with a body length of 1 kilometer. The most petite incarnation beside her, Ikikishima-ji, with blue hair and blue eyes, huddled behind the two of them. What a terrible, terrible human, that guy is a monster, definitely a monster. Hee, what about the monster? A glance with delicate and complex eyes, the natural fragrance of plants and trees accompanied by the charm of every move, quietly made the 3 female snakes who transformed into human bodies confused. Please, can you take me to the depths of Raichi Cave? Whispering softly, the 3 female snakes were even more fascinated, and their hearts were beating fast. What a nice smell, what is this feeling? This pounding heart, is this love? Ah, is it the estrus period? It seems. This fragrance, this alluring fragrance, this charming charm, I can't help it. Do you mind having a girlfriend who is a little older than you? A mere 1,000 years of age difference, love is not a problem. After calming their hot hearts, Yu took a deep breath, glanced at the fox charm entry under the 9 tails Jinchuriki, and felt a deep chill. The effect of fox charm and the explanation of vixen are pure charm and pheromone blessing. From now on, it seems that it also has an effect on creatures other than humans. Well, after all, it is a vixen, and cross-species influence is also a very normal thing. Vixen, whether male or female, has the ability to charm the opposite, and perhaps also the same. However, why did I sign in with Black 9 Tails and create an entry similar to that of a vixen? Is it related to what is hidden in Black 9 Tails' stomach? The thoughts were interrupted quietly. The 3 female snakes looked at Yu with fiery faces and pointed at the temple in front of them. Sweetheart, this is the residence of the White Snake Immortal. You must be careful. If you can't withstand the natural energy and become a perfect immortal, the White Snake Immortal will eat you in one bite. Tanksin Shenji was reluctant, and Ikijima-ji snorted and stepped forward quickly, with love in her eyes. No, I will never allow my dear to become the food of the White Snake Immortal. It's better to have a child with me now. What are you two like? If you want to have a child, you should have it with me now. Don't you think so, husband? Tanshinji's words made Tanksin Shenji and Ikijima-ji glare at each other. Just when the 3 female snakes were about to fight, the temple in the thick fog revealed its true form. Come in, you are really an interesting boy. It seems that the secrets hidden in you are not just as simple as Sharingan. The thick fog dissipated, and the temple gate slowly opened. The old woman in a white robe and a bright red night pearl on her head narrowed her eyes slightly, and the long-stemmed pipe in her hand emitted wisps of smoke. It's really unbecoming. 1 or 2 guys who have lived for at least nearly 1,000 years can be deceived by a little fox ghost to this extent. Even Sharingan's illusion is useless. Well, the demon fox in your body really looks like 9 tails, but now 9 tails is not sealed in a woman. That ominous and disgusting aura, you really have a secret hidden in your body. The White Snake Immortal puffed out smoke, and the thick fog covering his body quietly dissipated, revealing the true appearance of the White Snake Immortal in Raichi Cave. His body was coiled up high, and the stone bed that could accommodate dozens of people could only accommodate the head and neck of the white snake and a small part of the front body. His orange hair was scattered, and the dark green cat's eye stone on his chest was dim, and the divine object was obscure. Purple silk is used as forehead protector, and the red night shining pearl as big as a millstone emits a little glow. Its body length is much longer than the 3 goddesses of Raichi Cave, but its own aura is almost non-existent. You are so annoying. Old woman, you brought me here specially, what on earth do you want to do? In an instant, the 3 goddesses, Tianxin Goddess, Ikikishima Goddess, and Suzu Goddess, were so anxious that they were at a loss, and hurriedly bowed their heads to apologize. I'm sorry. Lord White Snake, please forgive this child who doesn't know manners. Give us a little time and we will definitely teach this child what manners are. Forget it, it's been a long time since I met a kid with such a huge amount of chakra and such an interesting personality. Interesting Uchiha kid, you must hold on and don't be corroded by natural energy and become a snake. Otherwise, you can only become food for all snake creatures in Raichi Cave, understand? The vertical eyes in the orange pupils flashed a hint of ridicule, and the White Snake Immortal slowly opened his snake kiss. On the sharp and thick fangs, drops of snake saliva containing vitality corroded the stone slab. Now, let me see how much natural energy you can withstand, Uchiha Kid. The fangs pierced the neck, which was completely different from chakra. The surging natural energy continued to pour in. For a moment, even the Black Nine-Tails who pretended to sleep in his inner world had to look around. Strange power, is this what you call natural energy? Uchiha brat, can actually make my chakra dozens of times stronger, this strange power. The forest courtyard suddenly disappeared, and under the influence of that terrifying vitality, the grass and trees continued to grow wildly. Black Nine-Tails suddenly opened up the invisible power and made all the grass and crops disappear. At this moment, the heart lake was rippled, and countless surging natural energies merged into the heart lake and the body of Black Nine-Tails. Really? I don't want to become the feces of snake creatures, so no matter how much natural energy, I will accept it without hesitation, it's coming. The sight turned, and the message at the corner of the eye made Yu's mouth twitch. This month's sign-in is full, the daily sign-in is successful, and the monthly sign-in is opening. Character sign-in. White Snake Immortal. Possessing abilities: Invisibility, Illusion, Thought Wave, Sage Mode, Raichi Cave. Randomly drawn. Successfully signed in, get invisibility today. Special location trigger. Current location is the 3 major heritage holy places Raichi Cave, sign in at the trigger location. Location sign in. Raichi Cave. Get exclusive entry. Immortal Snake. Immortal Snake, you can freely control natural energy, sense chakra and life forms, and the white snake crawling in the forest will one day shed its snake body and turn into a real dragon. Closing square bracket. The solemnity under the mask suddenly turned into ecstasy. The white snake immortal, who was continuously supplying natural energy to Yu's body, felt this strong joy and was secretly surprised. With such strong emotional changes, he can still absorb natural energy smoothly. Is this kid a ninja born to practice sage mode? Single quote. However, the waves in the heart of the white snake immortal have not yet calmed down. What is about to happen next makes the emotional waves of this old snake that has existed for more than 1,000 years more obvious. I thought that the character sign-in was unparalleled in the world, but I never thought that there would be a more courageous existence than the character sign-in. Can the location sign-in still be? Single quote. Since meeting many outstanding geniuses, Uchiha Yu often shuts herself in because she is not a genius enough. Without an invincible start, punching the filial sun weasel, kicking Konoha F4, ascending the throne of Hokage, and making the silly and sweet Kagaya pregnant with 4 children feel ashamed. The acquisition of the immortal entry allowed Uchiha Yu's senses to perceive an unprecedented world, and the chakra and natural energy in the body could easily enter a balance. Just when Uchiha Yu was about to stop and calm down his inner excitement, a sudden message instantly turned him from surprise to ecstasy. Continuous sign-in successful. Time flow detected. This year's sign-in has been completed, and the annual sign-in is opening. Ah! Not only are there daily and monthly signs, but now there are also annual signs. Will there be a Wu next? The last one should not be there. Single quote. In a blink of an eye, the water surface was blue, and in Yu's inner world, the Black Nine-Tails felt comfortable all over and couldn't help stretching. Little ghost. No, Uchiha Kagetsu, I didn't expect that there is a force in the world that can make it react, the so-called natural energy. Listen carefully, the opportunity cannot be missed. It will be difficult to encounter such a good opportunity again if you lose this opportunity. I will suck it hard. Suddenly, the white snake immortal, who was still infusing natural energy, felt an unprecedented suction force sucking his own immortal energy into the endless black hole. The so-called white snake immortal, don't tell me that it is only this level. If you want me to enter sage mode, this chakra alone is not enough. I didn't expect to spend the new year in Raichi Cave this year. What is this kind of chakra? This terrifying chakra volume seems to face the whole world. The white snake immortal of Raichi Cave can't be underestimated by Uchiha's little ghost. The white snake immortal shouted loudly, and Tienshin Shenji, Ikikishima-ji, and Suzu-ji immediately opened their snake mouths, and sharp fangs pierced into their limbs, infusing the natural energy in their bodies into them. Sorry, dear, I will try to be as gentle as possible. As expected of the man I like, I didn't expect that even the white snake immortal couldn't hold on and asked us to take action. The natural energy that follows may be beyond imagination. Once you can't resist, you must scream so that we know, hee hee. The black and white eyes turned into complex and exquisite Mangekyo at this moment, and the weird black and purple eye shadow quietly spread around the eyes. Year sign success. The annual sign was successful. You got the method to make the sage talisman. The new year begins. How to make the sage talisman? Isn't that the legendary treasure of the Toad Kingdom that the Sage of Six Paths used to revive his dying brother, Otsutsuki Hamura? Because it is full of chakra, it can easily restore life to a seriously injured being. There is only one in the entire Toad Kingdom, Mount Myoboku, one of the 3 major holy places for practice. After about 1,000 years, it is unknown whether the second one can be made. It is highly likely that it cannot be made. Even if it can be made, it will not be spread outside the Toad Kingdom. Is this natural energy? Is this sage mode? The scene in the Raichi cave became clearer and clearer. The thick fog floating in the air, the tobacco burning in the pipe of the white snake sage, and the actions of the 3 goddesses could not escape the eyes of Uchiha Yu. Time passed by minute, and when the black and purple eye shadow extended to the corner of the eye, the white snake immortal and the 3 goddesses retracted their fangs and looked at the figure with no trace of snake transformation, only black and purple eye shadow. Their eyes were full of shock. How is it possible? The white snake immortal and the 3 of us, most of the natural energy, can only make him barely enter the perfect sage mode. How much chakra is in his body? Has he finally entered the perfect immortal state? Uchiha, a natural sage mode kid, welcome to visit Raichi cave in the future. Bang! Uchiha Kagetsu's figure disappeared in Raichi cave, and the 3 goddesses showed regret and couldn't help but take a deep breath. Just leave like this. It seems that leaving him here, this long-lost impulse and appetite, makes people drool. Aikikishimaji's eyes are as charming as silk, and her petite and cute transformation is enough to seduce the desire of any opposite, provided that the sharp fangs and snake tongue are ignored. 1 or 2, I knew it would turn out like this. That Uchiha kid has that kind of charm that is close to that of a demon and the degree of control over natural energy. I haven't encountered such a unique human in thousands of years. If you guys are in heat, get out of here and don't let that breath appear in my residence. The 3 goddesses lowered their eyebrows and turned away, but secretly complained in their hearts. If you hadn't brought such an attractive child to Raichi cave, how could you seduce the impulse that hasn't appeared in nearly 1,000 years? Really? 2 flowers bloom, each showing its own beauty. The land of fire, Konoha village, the 3rd training ground. The white mist dissipated, and before Yu could sigh about this unexpected journey, she was dragged into the inner world by the black 9 tails in an instant. Kid, how does it feel to be stronger? I didn't expect that there is energy other than chakra in this world, natural energy. It is very similar to the magic used by the Sage of Six Paths. Black 9 tails' eyes were full of excitement. From its erect fox hair and sturdy body, it can be seen that it is ecstatic. Didn't I tell you a long time ago that you can sense natural energy? Now you believe it, don't you, stupid fox? Ah. Kid, do you want to fight me? The sharp fox nails pierced through in an instant, and the flowers and moon in front of him disappeared quietly like a passing cloud. I'm busy now and don't have time to play with you. Although I don't know what's in your stomach, it must be a great secret from the fact that it can absorb so much natural energy. After most of the battlefields of the Third Ninja World War are over, I hope to hear the real answer, Kurama. The voice lingered for a long time, and the lazy expression of Black 9 tails slowly disappeared, and finally turned into solemnity and hesitation. Uchiha's little brat, after getting this so-called sage mode, have the eyes that are gradually losing their light also been relieved? It's getting more and more difficult. Wait until you survive the battlefield. Although I will probably die after you die, it's not that easy to convince me, ha 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 ha. In the 3rd training ground, Yu glanced at Black 9 tails who was in the state of Uchiha's crazy laughter, and the corners of his mouth twitched. He was obviously Uchiha, so why was Black 9 tails more skilled in going crazy than him? Forget it, I didn't expect to stay in Raichi cave for more than 20 days. I almost spent the new year there. Walking aimlessly on the street, the noisy and bustling scene, the playfulness of young men and women, made Wyu slightly dazed, and almost forgot that it was still a war period. The smell of meat in the air, the smell of fireworks and firecrackers, made him feel lost. On the other hand, in the border of the land of fire and the land of earth, in the land of grass, the local grass village ninjas could only tremble, looking at the overwhelming, thousands of rock shinobi ninjas crossing the border to the border of the land of fire, and endure the humiliation. Are we just going to watch the rock shinobi act recklessly in the land of grass? A grass ninja lurking in the dark gritted his teeth, his face full of humiliation. What can we do? The land of earth is one of the 5 great nations. We are a small nation that can only survive in the cracks. We are powerless. We should save the vitality of the Kusagakure first. We cannot let the precious ninja die in such a meaningless place. We should abandon the civilians if necessary. You must know how much it costs to train a ninja compared to those poor people who have no fighting power. The leader of the Kusagakure Jonin shouted sternly. He looked at the backs of thousands of rock shinobi with envy and jealousy, but more of hatred and dissatisfaction. Fight! Fight! All die on the battlefield. Every war will make the people of our small nation live a life worse than death. One day you will be punished by the gods. At the same time, when thousands of rock shinobi ninjas broke through the border of the land of grass, Konoha Anbu, who was lurking at the border and was responsible for intelligence work, immediately rushed back to Konoha and handed over this urgent military information to the third Hokage and the consultants. In the Hokage's office, Konoha's F4 gathered together, and each of them looked inexplicably ugly. That guy, Onoki, sent tens of thousands of ninjas to besiege the third Hokage. It was not enough to take the opportunity to attack the wind country, and now he is going to attack the fire country. Danzo lowered his eyes. With the current number of Konoha village, it is really difficult to support a war with other major countries at the same time. Small-scale fights are enough to make people upset, not to mention thousands of rock shinobi ninjas. At this point, whether to start a war is not up to Konoha to decide. Since Onoki has chosen to take action, Konoha cannot be slaughtered. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes were cold, and the murderous intent and determination contained in them made Danzo even more vigilant. It seems that his old friend and enemy have not forgotten the cruelty on the battlefield. Call the Konoha shinobi, all members are ready for war. In addition, send Namikaze Minato, Uchiha Keigetsu. Thanks for watching.